So now I've got all the frets cut, and you can see they're all nice and even across. I've also cut off that portion of the fingerboard, and I need to go ahead and taper it now before I put in the things and everything, because I want it to be uniform at this point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the fretboard over and butt it up tight there, and then I'm going to mark it on that side. And now carefully I'm going to mark both of these tapers with this white pencil. So now I've got this little jig set up for the so I can taper the fretboard, and it just holds this up about I don't know, ½ inch or 3/4 of an inch. Just clamp it down with some culls, and now I'm going to use the block plane to just make long swipes down the edge of the fretboard and just taper that down. So you got to be kind of careful. It's going pretty fast. So slices off, and you can see it just kind of, rosewood's really easy to do this with too. So ebony's pretty easy also. So I just want to keep going and then keep backing up so I get my taper in. My taper's going to stop right at this edge, so I don't want to go any further than that because I can trim that up. Now I'm just going to take a little block sander and kind of smooth that up. This is pretty heavy here, and you can see right here I kind of went in a little bit too far, so I want to smooth that out, and this should do it. One more and then we'll sand it. Well, there's a little edge right here that's not flush from the rough planing. I'm going to take a file and just kind of go right up against that and bring that. It's a lot easier to do with a file than a sandpaper. That's a little better. So now we've got the rough taper laid out and cut down, and we can compare that with our template. And I can see that it's about, maybe a 1/16 of an inch on both sides that it could still come down, which is fine, because I'll do some more final sanding to true that edge up just a little bit nicer on both sides. And so that'll work out just right. And so we're almost ready to start inlaying the maple. So I'm just going to fence up some 60 grit sandpaper here, and I'm going to true up the edges of the fretboard. And so just kind of go like that. So set it down and piece right over the top of that so it holds that flat. And we'll clamp that like this. And we'll clamp this side like that. We're ready to go. And then what I can do is I can use that edge, because it's 60 grit, so it's nice and coarse. And I can really put a much nicer line and taper. So now we can see what the fingerboard's going to look like. Slides right in. We got the final fit in. It's tapered to as far down as I'm going to take it. And to overlap just a little bit. And so there you go. And there's the old plastic version of the manufacturer's model, and here's the new custom fingerboard made out of rosewood. Next we'll inlay it with the maple strips. So now I'm just going to cut all my maple strips to length. I'm going to let them go a little bit long, and we'll just cut them off right now, and then we'll inlay them here in a second. I've got a little setup here with a board and a wax paper and a little clamp and caul and a sheet of wax paper to go over the top. So when I start gluing these in, I'm just going to take it in little sections. So I'm going to start at this one and work it that way. So as I clamp it, I can just keep clamping all the way up. I'll let that dry and then I'll go the other direction. So it should work pretty good. I'll let this dry for about 15 minutes and then we'll do the other end of it. Whoops. So I'm putting in the last strips of maple in now. So here's the board now with all the maple strips, fret indicators glued in. Still need to do some final sanding. I'll just cut those ends off with a knife, and we'll do a little bit of final sanding before we get ready for the purling. So came out pretty good.